That is a sound to stir your heart. Goose song is a better lure for wildfowlers than calls are for wildfowl. As the geese make their way onto the sands of the Kent estuary in the old county of Westmorland, wildfowler Ryan Teasdale is getting his kit ready.
I just love being out here. It's so relaxing. It's my kind of place to forget about work and everything else. You get out here and yeah, nothing matters. It's brilliant. So, but yeah, the main thing is that, yeah, like I say, I get a source of meat from it. So that's the way I do it.
Ryan is joined by Tom Stevens and Tom's daughter Lucy. They cross a salt marsh to get to the banks of the Kent, where they will wait and, they hope, shoot until dark. Lucy and her dad bring their 15-month-old Chesapeake Bay Retriever.
They're good in water. They're very strong, quite stubborn as well, I'd say, aren't you?
You're supposed to be on the Xbox, aren't you?
Yeah, I suppose I should be really, but my family, most of them do go shooting or fishing. It gives you things about safety and nature and wildlife, and it does give you a lot of life skills, and it's useful as well.
The Westmorland Wildfowlers Association offers its 100 members a lot. Lucy's uncle, Neil Stevens, is secretary. He explains how much ground they have.
We have an access point which is just over there, which is Ulfa, and that there is an access walking all the way along that line there, underneath the viaduct, and we're going right back out to Grange. Here, pretty much as the eye can see, following at Milnthorpe, it's following there. So it's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of acres that we have access to.
People have shot and trapped duck on the River Kent for hundreds of years. The club began in 1950.
In the 1950s, there was a group of gentlemen who were very passionate about wildfowling, John Ruxton being one of them, based here in Milnthorpe, close to the Kent estuary. Peter Scott used to shoot from here as well, basing himself at the Ship Inn, just along the estuary here. And at that period of time in the 1950s, they were wanting to ensure that there was some sort of agreements and the sporting shooting that was done in the Kent estuary was controlled really in a way and a form, so that it wasn't a free-for-all and there wasn't poaching and there wasn't problems with taking too many ducks, geese over a period of time. So some of those names, particularly Peter Scott, are great conservationists as well as shooting people. We were very, very fortunate to have really good relationship with the Tyrone Wilson families from Dalham Towers and Dalham Tower Estate. In fact, our Vice President, Susie Villiers-Smith, today is the niece of Brigadier Tyrone Wilson. Originally, they were ducks released just in the park and the parkland close to here at Dalham Towers, and then more and more it's been introduced into the estuary for breeding programmes for ducks and for geese as well. I did get a gun for my 21st birthday, yeah. I've been a member of the association itself for 40 years, and thinking back about it now, and I have regularly gone out on the marsh in my younger days with my husband, who's been a member a lot longer than 40 years, and we've brought our kids up as well to enjoy both hunting, shooting and fishing.
It's not just wildfowling. The association has duck ponds, fishing ponds and its own pheasant shoot, which we walk past on the way to the river.
This is the Westmorland Wildfowlers Pheasant Syndicate, which is just one of the syndicates we have in our club. So, as well as we have duck ponds all the way around the estuary, and we have a few more further inland. But yeah, this is just one of them.
And what sort of days do you have here?
We have between 50 and 60 bird days. So we're lucky enough to have Susie, who you've seen, her husband keepers it. So it's a nice little setup and an enjoyable day.
You are part of it for a few years, and then you move off, and then the next people that are on the waiting list, they move on to it, and so forth, and it just keeps everyone keeping fresh and moving on to it, which is over at Heversham Way, so it's over back to the back of us there.
As well as the enjoyment of its members, the club is keen to bring in young shots. You can find out more about Westmorland Wildfowlers Association young shots on our website. On the way out to the river, Lucy's Chesapeake Bay pegs a young pinkfoot.
It's got no meat on its breastbone, so I'd say it's either two.
It's only a young one, isn't it?
With hardly developed wing feathers, it's a wonder it made it from breeding grounds in the north, and may be a victim of this year's late breeding season. It might not make a meal for the wildfowlers, but that's one sick goose taken out of circulation. We get to the river, tuck our heads below the bank, and as the sun sinks behind the fells, the birds start to move.
Keep down.
Lucy has a chance at one. She misses, and Ryan misses too. Another pair of mallard go over, and it's the same story. Then another goes over, and Ryan makes sure.
Over, Lucy.
With the Chesapeake Bay too young to start work, Lucy's spaniel is straight into the water to retrieve it.
No, gonna, shush.
When it comes to shooting, wildfowlers often have to be contortionists. The sandy banks of the River Kent are comfortable compared to many marshes, but still require you to shoot from a sitting position.
In wildfowling, you can find yourself in some awful positions, but yeah, as long as you have a good, when you're sitting down, as long as you're comfy, you can mount. It's just the hard sometimes when you're swinging around. But as you can see, I've got a good. It's just if anything was coming from that direction, you'd have to wait for it to come over, or you'd have to shuffle. But yeah, you can find yourself sometimes when you're moving, you've been sat in a long position, you're in some cramps, so you don't even shoot, you're in that much pain. But no, yeah, as long as you're safe and that you're not unstable, you can normally get a shot away.
Working out distances as it gets dark is not easy. Ryan is fooled into thinking that this is a duck. What's amazing is that you don't have to be a member to shoot here. You can have all this as a guest for the cost of a guide. You will need to show them your insurance and your shotgun certificate. The shooting is free, and a guide costs £15 for the day. Neil explains.
That just goes back into the club. It's not as a money-making scheme. It's purely so we can put for new signs or for our young shot programmes for purchasing ducks. We do try to run such a high amount of conservation. So for every duck that is taken off the marsh, we try to at least put one down on top of that. You can do the morning, a tide, and an evening flight with us. And if you're lucky enough that it's a moon flight, we'll even take you out on a moon flight. So for £15, it's a lot of fun, isn't it?
At the end of the evening, we are up one mallard, one thin pinkfoot, and no bats.
I watched her actually mount a gun, and she did everything perfect. So yeah, it's just that bit more experience, like she says. But I've seen her shoot ducks before, but you can't always shoot them, can you? So yeah, that's part of wildfowling. Me and my missus, we both live off game. So that can be from like pheasant meatballs to goose meatballs to burgers, lasagna. So yeah, that's the reason I shoot, and obviously the scenery out there, as you've seen, is brilliant. So that's the main reason I shoot anyway.
And do you eat duck, Lucy?
Yeah, when Dad manages to shoot.
She can't shoot, get that many then.
That's a rare treat.
Yeah, on a rare occasion, yeah.
If you'd like to know more about the Westmorland Wildfowlers Association and to go shooting with them, visit their excellent website westmorlandwildfowlersassociation.co.uk.
They did this last night, and then the first ones came in high, and then they got lower and lower.